Good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Report. Today we've got a chart that says more about America's cultural divide than a week's worth of campaign ads. NBC asked folks in Gen Z, our youngest voters, what they consider important to their personal definition of success. They split the results by men who voted for Donald Trump and women who voted for Kamala Harris. The contrasts are actually stunning. One side ranks having children and being married near the top. The other side barely even that doesn't even register as priorities. One side sees financial independence and home ownership as cornerstones. The other is focused on emotional stability and using talents to help others. Same generation, same age group, same families, raised at the same time. It's all the same, I've seen the same stuff, but yet completely different visions of what it means to make it. And it matters because these definitions of success are not just personal, they shape our politics, our economy, our culture. And one half of a generation is working towards family formation and stability, and the other half is working towards career fulfillment and self-expression. And they're going to vote for very, very different leaders. So we're going to break this down. We're going to see what the Trump voting young men said and what the Harris voting young women said. We're going to find out where they overlap, where they clash, and what all that means for America's future. Okay, so when NBC asked men who voted for Trump what success looks like, the top answers were familiar, almost traditional. Having children, 34% put this at the top. Financial independence, 33% put that at the top. A fulfilling job / career, 30%. Being married, 29%. This is the American dream in classic form. Wife, kids, stable job, paying your own bills. Add in the 26% who said owning a home, and you can see a clear picture. These young men are chasing stability and legacy. Now, why does this matter? Because for decades, political commentators have claimed that young people don't care about traditional markers anymore. But this data says otherwise, at least for young men on the right. They still see family and financial self-sufficiency as a gold standard. Now let's look deeper. 28% said having money to do the things you want. Now that's not greed, that's freedom. The ability to enjoy life without government checks or debt collectors breathing down your neck. Another interesting marker is 24% said being grounded spiritually. That's not nothing. In a generation often labeled as the least religious in American history, 1 out of 4 of these young men tie spiritual grounding to success. Then there's making family and community proud, 23%. And having no debt. Notice how much of this is about responsibility and obligation. Not just about what I want, but how much my choices reflect on others. Not just what I enjoy, but whether I've paid what I owe. Finally, at the bottom, just 9% said having emotional stability. Compare that with the Harris voting women, and you'll see a gulf opening. For Trump voting Gen Z men, success is concrete. It's family, it's money, it's home, it's work. The softer, more internal measures, like emotional stability or self-care, barely register. So what does this mean politically? It means these young men will be drawn to politics that reward responsibility, tax cuts, affordable housing, incentives for family formation. And they'll be skeptical of programs that emphasize therapy and feelings over opportunity and work. This is not theory. That's what these folks told NBC. Okay, now let's flip the chart. Let's see what the Harris voting young women said. Their top priority, a fulfilling job or career, a full 51% listed this as their definition of success. Not marriage, not kids, not even financial independence. Work. Now that tells us a lot. The cultural message to young women has been clear. Your worth is tied to professional achievement, and many of them have absorbed that message. Next up, having money to do what you want, 46%. Now, that's not the same as financial independence. It's not about paying your bills or being debt-free. It's about lifestyle freedom, travel, entertainment, experiences. Then comes the striking contrast, having emotional stability at 39%. For men, it was dead last. For Harris voting women, near the top. Another high number, using talents and resources to help others at 37%. That reflects an emphasis on social activism and service that's being drilled in the classrooms and social media. Okay. Financial independence shows up too at 31%. Having no debt at 21%, again, responsibility is lower on the list compared to self-expression and career fulfillment. Now, here's the kicker. Having children was at 6%. 6%. Marriage also at 6%. Retiring early, 6%. That's almost a total rejection of traditional markers for these young women. Success has little to do with building family or putting down roots. It's about career, lifestyle, mental health, impact. What does that mean politically? It means they're drawn to policies that emphasize social safety nets, workplace equity or equality, mental health funding, student loan forgiveness. They're less concerned about policies that make marriage or home ownership easier, because these goals don't define success for them. It's not just a political divide, it's a cultural one. Okay, before we keep going, let me remind you that you can start your day the right way with 7 Weeks Coffee, a pro-life company that supports expecting mothers with every bag that you buy. Skip the whole woke brands, support life, and enjoy a great cup of coffee. Visit 7weekscoffee.com and use the code Morning Report for a discount today. Okay, now let's compare the lists directly. For Trump voting men, success means family formation, financial self-reliance, owning things, home, stability, legacy. For the Harris voting women, success means career fulfillment, emotional well-being, and helping others. These aren't just differences in taste. They're differences in worldview. One worldview says my success is measured by my commitments to my spouse, to my children, to my community, and responsibility. The other says my success is measured by my personal fulfillment, by my career, by my feelings, by my ability to impact others in causes that I care about. Both sides care about money, but notice the split. One says financial independence, and then the other says having money to do the things you want. They're not the same. Financial independence says that I got all my bills paid and I'm not waiting on somebody to give me money. The other says having all the money to do the things I want to do. It's independence versus experience. Both sides list spirituality, but the numbers are different, from 24% in the Trump men to 11% for the Harris women. Again, responsibility, tradition versus personal fulfillment. Now, here is where it gets uncomfortable. These worldviews just don't differ. They're almost incompatible. If young people want marriage and children, but young women don't, if young men want marriage and kids, but young women don't, how exactly does that work out? This may help explain the decline in marriage rates, the rise in loneliness, the cultural frustration between young men and women. They're not just missing each other, they're chasing different definitions of success. And as they grow older, these values will harden. By the time this generation is in their 40s, America may be split not just by red and blue, but by fundamentally different ideas of what it means to have a good life. Okay, so what does this mean for the country? First, marriage and fertility. If only 6% of Harris voting women tie success to having kids, birth rates will keep falling. That's not speculation, that's math. Arithmetic, really, but okay. Second, housing markets. If young men want homes, but women don't tie success to marriage or kids, that may create more single male demand, more roommate situations, fewer family households. Third, workforce policies. With women prioritizing career, expect more pressure from workplace equality, maternity leave, and work-life balance policies. Fourth, politics. Republicans will campaign on tax cuts, home ownership, family stability. Democrats will campaign on career opportunities, mental health funding, and student loan relief. That's not just left versus right. That's different definitions of what we're calling the American dream. Okay, this morning's morning report is also brought to you by my dear friends at Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's best local florist. Whether it's birthdays, anniversaries, or just because days, I love that. Just because days, Bloomingdale's makes every occasion beautiful. Visit bloomingdales.com, www.bloomingdales.com, and support a local business that supports independent media. Okay, so here's the bigger question. Can a society hold together when its citizens don't even agree on what success means? For one half of Gen Z, success is family, responsibility, legacy. For the other, it's career, feelings, self-expression. I guess neither is wrong, but they point in different directions. One of them builds strong households, and the other builds strong resumes. One passes down traditions, the other reinvents identity. The challenge for America is not just political compromise, it's cultural translation. Because if we can't agree on what a successful life looks like, how do we agree on policies to support it? The data is clear. The divide is real. And the stakes, they are high. That's the morning report for today. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to support our sponsors, 7 Weeks Coffee, and my friend Christine at Blooming Days Flower Shop. And as always, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.